Okay, so this is the very first episode of The Weird, the Wacky, and the Wonderful, a history podcast that will take you on a journey throughout history, and you guessed it, to look at the weird, the wacky, and the wonderful throughout time or anything that we find interesting. We are your hosts.
I'm Alfie.
And I'm Ali. This podcast was mainly started because it combines our two favourite things, history and yapping. We'll preface this by saying that we are not professional historians, just professional yappers. We did get a history GCSE, and even though mine was well over a decade ago now.
And mine was 6 years.
So this episode will go through the modern royal family. So we'll start at the very beginning, not with the dinosaurs.
Aww.
I know, dinosaurs are pretty cool.
Dinosaurs are cool.
Love them. So the royal family has a rich history, whether you like them or not, whether you think they are the greatest thing since sliced bread, or just nepo babies with fancy hats.
Can I have a fancy hat?
I mean, we could all have fancy hats if we tried hard enough.
I mean, I like a fez, but...
Fezzes are cool. I think we should just bring back top hats in general.
Yeah.
So we'll go through the events that led to the Norman conquest, and the conquest itself.
It all starts on what was likely to be a miserable day on the 5th of January, 1066.
Because, England.
January.
Yeah.
Edward the Confessor dies at age 62 in London. His last words were, "I ask you do not conceal my death, but announce it promptly, in all parts, so that all the faithful can bespeak the mercy of Almighty God on me, a sinner." He left no heir and was buried at Westminster Abbey on the 6th of January, 1066.
Oh, the 6th of January.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I mean, us in January.
And the 6th of January in general,
Yeah.
Now, Edward did promise a throne to two different people, and pay attention to these names because they will be the main players in today's episode. Player one.
In the red corner, we have Harold Godwinson, Earl of Wessex.
And player two, William, Duke of Normandy. Just because, again, names, they'll be known as Hazard G and Willy Boy.
Good old Willy Boy.
Good old Willy Boy. Now, Hazard G was actually crowned on the 6th of January, 1066. And as we all know, spoiler alert again, Willy wins. So it's not just as simple as Willy Boy marching up to Hazard and demanding that he become King of England, and Hazard going, okay then. So this is, the conquest and the events that led up to conquest is split up into three separate battles.
Because battles at that time were very, very popular.
I love a good battle.
So do I.
I mean, it's not all what people are thinking, like Game of Thrones and everything like that. It is pretty brutal, though. Not going to lie.
Well, it can't be Game of Thrones because Sean Bean's not around.
Yeah, I mean, he'd be the first to die. Not going to lie. So, Battle 1 was known as the Battle of Fulford. It took place on the 20th of September, 1066, just south of York. So, for those, 9 months, Hazard Boy's just chilling on the throne, doing kingly shit. So the battle was fought between the English, the Saxons, and the Norwegian, the Norse. Now, just side note, we are going to be using the terms English and Saxon interchangeably. Again, at that time, it was pretty much the same thing. Because, again, it was still the kingdoms of England, of the United Kingdom now. They were just separate.
Yeah, they were just separate. I mean, I think it was Hedwig that was the first actual King of England as a whole.
Oh, wow. Very interesting. So, on the English side, you have Earls Edwin and Morcar, that's with the Saxon army again. And the Norwegian side, you have Harald Hardrada, the King of Norway, and Tostig Goodwin. Now, I know what you're thinking. Alfie, I know what you're thinking at.
Do you?
Godwin? Didn't we just hear that name earlier?
I think we did.
Yep. Yes, you did. Tostig was the brother of Hazard G.
Good old Hazard G.
Now, a little backstory for our T-Dog. T-Dog was appointed the Earl of Northumbria in 1055. T-Dog was exiled. Womp womp.
Shame.
Shame, innit?
Just another Nepo baby getting what he deserves.
Probably not getting a fancy hat, though.
No.
Now, T-Dog was exiled mainly due to the fact that the Northumbrian people hated him.
But you'd have thought at this time, though, people would have loved the monarchy, and even if they didn't, they'd have probably just died anyway.
Yeah. No, that time and whatever they were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I mean, the reason they hated T-Dog so much that, he fled was he was a bit of a dickhead, his harsh rule, and his refusal to listen or address their concerns, which led to a rebellion in 1065. So he's been there for a good 10 years, and it took really 10 years for people to go in head and say, actually, we don't like this guy.
I think we've seen plenty of rebellions in recent history as well.
Yeah, we've seen quite a lot of those. So he was forced to flee the country. He fled to Flanders Field first.
France.
Then to Normandy, where he met Willie Boy.
Good old Willie Boy.
And he later sailed to Scotland and possibly Norway.
This is where he would have joined forces with Hardrada.
And guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna invade England.
Woohoo!
So back to the battle.
The English forces were already weakened, as they'd lost most of the troops that had to be sent home for harvest.
Peasants.
The battle only lasted a few hours. Roughly 15% of total forces were lost, totaling up to 1,650. So, roughly 825 per side.
That's if you split it exactly down the middle.
Yeah. But this is based on the 11,000 troops being deployed in battle. However, the Norse army did declare it their victory.
Oh, good for them.
Good for them. Hardrada had a very well-trained Viking army. He outflanked the Saxon army. He basically just attacked from the back.
And both sides, yeah.
And at both sides. The English, they were forced to retreat, and York surrendered to the Norse army.
Oh, good for them.
Good for them. I mean, it now explains why York has a very, very Viking culture.
Oh, yeah, they love the Vikings there now. Museums.
More museums.
Yeah, more museums. Lots of them.
Longboats on the canal.
Yeah. So the battle itself was a significant blow to the English defences, and it also demonstrated the strength of the Viking army, and also highlighted the division within England. Tostig, T-Dog,
good old T-Dog,
wanted to reclaim his earldom, and Hardrada, like most people at that time, just wanted the throne.
And it wasn't an Iron Throne.
No, it was not the Iron Throne. And I will just preface this by saying Cersei Lannister is not making an appearance anytime soon.
What a shame.
What a shame. So this again is going to bring us on to battle number 2.
Just a quick thing. Norse army didn't know that it was going to be the last victory.
Oh, did it not?
No.
Well, there's a surprise there.
Spoilers. Battle 2, also known as the Battle of Stamford Bridge. So, you guessed it, at Stamford Bridge, which is now in the East Riding of Yorkshire.
Big up East Yorkshire.
Whoop whoop. Fought on the 25th of September, 1066.
So the numbers per side, so the Saxons or the English army, was around 10,500 to 15,000 footmen and around 2,000 mounted cavalry. So the Norse army itself was around 9,000 to 11,000, of which 3,000 of those troops engaged late in battle. And they had about 300 transport ships.
They're them big boats that they used to have, yeah?
I'm guessing they're the longboats.
Yeah, longboats.
I'm guessing that they're longboats. So historical records state that before the battle itself, a single man rode up to our main man, T-Dog, and his busy mate, Hardrada. He gave no name, but spoke to T-Dog, offering the return of his earldom if he turned against Hardrada. So talk about stab you in the back.
Yeah. T-Dog asked what his brother Hazard would be willing to give to Hardrada for his trouble. He responded with, and I quote, 7 feet of English soil, as he is taller than most men.
Yeah, fun fact, he was over 6 feet tall. So it was basically saying that both Hardrada and his men would be killed and buried on English soil. However, some sources do state that it was 6 feet of ground, or as much as he needs, as he is taller than most men. So, from what we can guess from that, he's pretty fucking tall.
Yeah.
So that guy then rode back to the Saxonhurst. Hardrada himself was impressed by the rider's boldness, and he asked T-Dog who it was. And guess what? T-Dog said it was none other than Hazard G himself.
Big up Hazard G.
Big up Hazard G. So the sudden surprise of that Saxon army did catch the Norse by surprise. So the English advance, though, was delayed by the need to pass through the chokehold of the bridge itself. And there was a single lone Norse soldier on that bridge that held up the English. I mean, you're what? 10,500 to 15,000 people being held up by one man.
I mean, that's why the English like to queue, though.
Yeah, we do love a good queue.
We do love a good queue, and it's not a line for the Yanks.
Yeah, so this single Norse soldier, it's said that he was armed with a Danish long axe. A broad axe, if you would. It has a reach of about 3.5 to about 6 feet.
So it's pretty fucking big.
Pretty fucking big. So this type of axe is really good for going up against cavalry, especially because, again, you can swing it against the horse itself, and both man and horse go down. And shields and unarmored or lightly armoured opponents. Because, again, it's an axe.
Yeah, and also armour during that time wasn't that good.
Was not that good. Oh, fucking Kevlar that we have now.
No.
So the story is that this lone Viking cut down up to 40 English men, but he was defeated by one single English soldier who got under the bridge and thrust his spear through the planks of the bridge, mortally wounding the warrior. Now, as it goes throughout history, his name was not preserved in the aftermath of this battle, so we have no idea what this guy's name is.
I mean, it'd be nice if we did know his name, because then if, obviously, you could trace your family back to him, you're like, my man.
My man cut down 40 Englishmen single-handedly with a very big stick with a sharp point on the top. So that delay had allowed the Norse army to form their shield wall to face that oncoming army.
When are they going to learn that the shield wall hardly ever works?
It does not work that well.
I mean, because if you've got bow and arrows, it's just going to go over the top.
Yeah. So Hazard's army did eventually get over that bridge. They form in a line, they locked their shields, and they charged. I imagine there was a lot of screaming.
Yeah.
Involved, not just the screams of the dying, but also battle charges, battle cries, and things like that. It's probably really fucking loud.
Yeah.
Not for my little sensitive ears.
No. Then we'll have that council game a noise complaint.
Yeah. Can't do that now. The council will come out and they will issue a noise complaint.
Party poopers.
So the battle itself went far beyond the bridge itself.
Not beyond the wall.
Not beyond the wall, no. Again, not Game of Thrones. And it did rage for hours. Now, the Norse's decision to leave their armour behind left them at a disadvantage. It came back, it bit them in the ass. Eventually, the Norse army began to fragment and fracture. This allowed the English troops to break their shield wall. Hardrada, killed. Arrow to the windpipe. How unfortunate. Womp womp.
Due to lack of breath.
Yeah.
Died due to lack of breath.
T-Dog was also killed during the battle, but again, it's not really recorded how he died. So you can leave that one up to your imagination. But wait, if you think that's the end of the battle, then think again. Because wait, there's more.
There's always more.
There's always more. In the late stages of the battle, the Norse army was joined by the reinforcements who would be guarding their ships at Rickle. So that was around 15 and a half miles, or around 25-ish kilometers. By Eystein or Hardrada's prospective son-in-law.
Nothing like keeping it in the family.
Nothing like keeping it in the family. Some of his men were said, and I'm not laughing because it's funny. I mean, it is kind of funny.
It's always funny.
You got to laugh at these things because it is kind of devastating. Some of his men have said to have collapsed and died of exhaustion upon reaching the battlefield. The remainder were fully armed and ready for battle. Their counterattack is described now in Norwegian tradition as Årstorm. They briefly checked the English advance, but were soon overwhelmed and all was killed.
Having lost the battle, the Norse army accepted Hazard's truce. Woohoo.
His truce, yep.
This includes Hardrada's sons Olaf.
What a good name, Olaf.
I know, but it wasn't a snowman.
Not a snowman.
And Paul.
Thorfinson. So you got a very, very English first name, Paul, who doesn't know like 60 Pauls.
John, George, Paul and Ringo.
Yeah, they're not the Beatles. This is well before the Beatles.
Very.
And Thorfinson is such a really Viking name. But he was the Earl of Orkney. Another Earl. So they were allowed to leave after vowing to never attack England again. Aww. The losses on the Norse side were so severe that they only needed around 24 of their 300 ships to carry the survivors away.
Well, if you think about it, though, those boats are so massive, though. You can fit a load of people in them.
I think it said it's up to about 300
in one boat.
In one boat.
That is.
They're big boats.
They are big boats.
So they did withdraw to Orkney, so that is the very top of Scotland, because again, Scotland is again its own separate kingdom during this time. And then they spent the winter there. And in the spring, Olaf returned to Norway.
He'd have just melted then.
Yeah, I mean, so for the deaths, you're looking at about 5,000 English and around 6,000 to 8,000 plus Norse. Historians said that a half a century later, the battleground was still easily recognizable by the pile of bones that still bear witness to heavy losses on both sides.
Hazard's victory? It was short-lived. 3 days after the battle, on the 28th of September, good old Willie Boy landed in Pevensey in Sussex.
Oh.
Good old Sussex.
Yeah.
Hazard had to immediately turn his troops around and force march them south to intercept the Norman army.
Which does lead us on to Battle 3.
Also known as the Battle of Hastings. And I know for some of the British people that'll be listening, they'll be getting the Hastings Direct advert stuck in their head.
Yep, which we're not going to do because...
We do not want to get demonetised.
Or copyrighted. So the Battle of Hastings, though, fun fact, guess what? Not fought in Hastings. It was fought around 7 miles or 11 kilometres northwest of Hastings, close to the present-day town of Battle. Guess what? That's named after.
The Battle of Hastings.
It is.
Fought between Willie Boy, Duke of Normandy, and good old Hazard G, who at this time is still the King of England. Now, the Battle of Hastings took place on the 14th of October, 1066.
It is said, though, that Willie Boy planned to invade in August, but had to delay due to bad weather.
I mean, France.
And sailing ships and
Yeah.
things like that.
And who doesn't like the French?
So the players in this, on one side, you've got Willie Boy, and you've got Alan the Red, William Fitz-Orbison, and Eustace II.
Useless.
No, I don't think his name's Useless. I think his name's Eustace. So they do have an estimated strength of around 7,000 to 12,000.
And on the English, or the Saxon, take your pick, you've got good old Hazard G, Grice Godwinson, and Leofwin Godwinson. Both are the younger brothers of Hazard G.
Again, keep it in the family, mate.
Yeah. And they had an estimated strength of between 5 and 13,000, as obviously facts at the time and numbers cannot actually be as one.
Again, we will touch on that a little bit down the line.
So the battle started at 9 a.m. and lasted until dusk, which would have been around 4:54.
Someone did actually go back and look at the sun placements for that day.
Someone has a lot of time in their hands to do that then.
Someone had a lot of time on their hands to do the research for this.
Yeah, so the battlefield would have mostly been dark around 5 to 6. Moonrise that night was not until 10 past 11. So once the sun set, there was very little light on the battlefield. The English army was composed almost entirely of infantry, and the rest had a few archers. Willie Boy's army, only half were infantry, and the rest were equally split between archers and cavalry.
So Hazard appears to have tried to surprise Willie Boy, but scouts had already found Hazard's army and told Willie about it. So Willie Boy marched from Hastings to confront Hazard G on the battlefield. Early efforts to break the English battle lines had little effect. So the Normans adopted a new tactic. Now, this, pretty fucking sneaky, man. They pretended to flee the battlefield in panic. And then once the English thought that they'd won, the Normans turned round and attacked their pursuers again.
I mean, they did use the field wall.
Everyone used a shield wall then, mate.
Yeah.
So again, we've already said, Hazard died, mate.
Yeah.
So his death was probably due to probably towards the end of the battle. It's said that he died as a result of being shot in the eye by an arrow depicted in the Bayeux Tapestry. But again, the Bayeux Tapestry is not something that is credible. So some people say he was shot in the eye. Some people say otherwise. So he died at the age of 44. He's either buried in Waltham Abbey in Essex or Bosham in Sussex. Again, records can't agree on a specific location.
I think we should also point out, though, that my man Willie Boy did have the backing of the Pope.
Yeah, so he did fly it. He flew in.
He flew in?
He flew up the battlefield on his bloody horse, carrying the papal banner. So, yeah, so he'd already spoken to the Pope, and the Pope was like, yeah, mate, go for it. That's yours for the taking. So, it's unclear when Hazard found out about Willie Boy's landing. It was probably during his march. Hazard did stop in London for about a week before Hastings, which meant he spent about a week marching south, averaging around 27 miles, or for those people again that use kilometers, that is 43 kilometers.
Just weird if you use kilometers.
Yeah. Per day for approximately 200 miles or 320 kilometers. Hazard camped at Colbeck Hill on the night of the 13th of October, 1066, near a hoar apple tree, and that is Hoar.
Few dirty-minded people.
About 8 miles, or again 13 kilometers, from Willie Boy's castle in Hastings. Some early contemporary French accounts mention an emissary or emissaries, plural, sent by Hazard to Willie Boy. It is likely that nothing came of it. So the events preceding the battle are a little obscure, with all sources contradicting themselves, but it's all agreed that Willie Boy's army advanced from his castle towards the enemy.
My man Willie Boy.
So Hazard and his army had taken a defensive position at the top of Senlac Hill, which is, again, in present-day battle. Again, yes, named after the Battle of Hastings, if you weren't listening earlier. Again, it's approximately 6 miles, 9.7 kilometers from Willie Boy's castle. So with Hazard's army, we did mention earlier that the size of Hazard's army at the time of battle is unknown. Again, contemporary records cannot give any reliable figures. Norman sources said around 400,000 to 1,200 on Hazard's side.
I think you mean 1.2 million.
1.2 million. I did it again.
I know. Numbers are not your strong suit, are they?
No, they're not. While English sources seem to underestimate Hazard's army, maybe that's to make the English defeat seem less devastating. But like we said earlier, recent historical figures and historians have suggested the 5 to 13,000, whilst most argue that it is between 7 and 8.
No. It is what it is at the end of the day.
It is what it is, and it was what it was. So with Hazard, his army mainly consisted of infantry. It's possible that some of the high-class members rode to battle horseback, obviously, and then dismounted and joined the battle to fight on foot. The core of his army was made up of housecarls, so they are professional full-time soldiers. That armour consisted of a conical helm, which is also known as a nasal helm, characterised for the bar that covers the nose and protects like the centre of your face. It is more of a cone shape than like a bucket shaped for other types of helmets used back then. A mail hauberk, which is basically what we would call chainmail. A shirt, or if you want to be fancy, call it a dress. That would reach mid-thigh to knee. So, I mean, again, I guess it's a dress at that point.
Yeah.
Of interlinked metal rings, and a shield that would be either kite-shaped or rounded, made of wood, and again, had metal reinforcements. Most housecarls, again, would have fought with those two-handed long axes. So your broad axe, long axe, call it what you want. But they would have also carried a sword as well. The rest of the army would have been made up of levies from the Freed. Also infantry, but lightly armoured and not professionals.
So they were peasants.
Basically. So, again, most of the infantry would have formed a shield wall. So in your front ranks, they would have locked their shields together. Behind them would have been the axemen and the javelins, as well as archers. Again, Willie Boy's army. Again, the numbers for Willie's army themselves are not known. So a contemporary document claims that Willie Boy had around 776 ships. But this may be an inflated figure. Figures given by contemporary writers for the size of the army are highly exaggerated, varying from 14,000 to 150,000. Modern historians, again, have offered that range of around 7,000 to 8,000, including around 1 to 2 mounted cavalry. So that's 1 to 2,000 mounted cavalry and around 1 to 2,000 archers. Again, the main armor of what is the same as Hazard's army, because again,
It's what they did back then.
it's what they did back then. It's normal for that time period.
Yeah.
So the cavalry and infantry both carried shields. The infantrymen's were usually round, again made of wood with metal reinforcements. The cavalry used a kite-shaped shield and were usually armed with a lance, but would also have had a sword. Now, they wouldn't, when the cavalry were riding into battle, they wouldn't have been couching their lances, which means they wouldn't have carried that lance under their arm parallel to the horse to give a better thrust. That was a very new thing back then.
Yeah. And the infantry could have also used javelins and long spears. I do like a long spear.
Yeah.
Some of the cavalry may have used a mace, a type of blunt weapon, a type of club with a long handle made of either wood or metal handle, and a head made of bronze, iron, or steel. Some maces also had a spike on the head to enhance their ability to pierce the armor and inflict more damage.
A pointy stick.
A good old pointy stick. You can never go wrong with a pointy stick.
Nah.
The archers would have used a simple bow, which means a single piece of wood, or they would have used a crossbow. So, as mentioned earlier, the battle would have only lasted until dusk, but it is possible that some people were still fighting well into the night. So, again, spoiler alert, Willie Boy wins.
Oh my god, how dare you spoil that for me?
I know, right? Hazard's death left the English forces leadless, and they began to collapse. Many of them fled, but soldiers of the royal household gathered around Hazard's body and fought until the very end.
How noble.
I know, how noble. Willie Boy's army began to pursue the fleeing troops.
Rude.
I know, how rude of them.
They'll let them flee.
Yeah.
You shoot them down.
Yeah. Hazard's defeat was probably due to the many different reasons why one was needed to defend against two almost simultaneous invasions.
It's almost like they planned it.
Yeah. Hazard's dismissal of his forces in the south on the September the 8th, also with him rushing south and not gathering extra forces, although it's not clear if the size of his army is a contributing factor.
Hey, you know what they say. Size doesn't matter, ladies. Womp womp.
Womp womp. Also, the spread of Hazard and his forces marched south.
Speed.
Mm.
Yeah, so the speed of Hazard and his forced march during south. No, let me say that one again. Also, the speed of which Hazard and his forces marched south.
It may not have trusted Edwin or Morcar once T-Dog had been defeated.
I mean, why not trust your earls? Do you want to claim all the glory?
I mean, he didn't trust his own brother, so...
True. He trusted his other ones.
What did he?
Oh, did he? Dun dun dun.
Most of them were to blame. He blames everyone apart from himself, basically.
Yeah. So, I mean, most of the blame, though, probably lies in the event of the battle. With the events of the battle itself. So, Willie Boy was a more experienced military leader. In addition, the lack of cavalry on the English side left Hazard with very little tactical options.
I mean, Hazard might have stood a chance if his soldiers were well rested.
I mean, it's not even saying though, because again, that's one of the contradictory things. It's said because of how long the battle lasted that maybe Hazard's army were more well rested than was assumed previously.
Yeah. But to that extent, we do not know.
Because we weren't there.
Because we weren't there.
I mean, we should ask Mum. She was around then. Just kidding. No, she wasn't.
Or was she?
Or was she? I mean, her first friend was an amoeba.
Yeah.
She'd go to school on the back of a T-Rex.
Yeah. The day after the battle, Hazard's body was identified, either by his armour or by the marks on his body. His personal standards was presented to Willie, and was later sent to the Pope.
Why does the Pope want it?
I mean,
just to prove that he's dead? Or does the Pope really like flags?
I don't know, but I think Hazard's a bit too old for the Pope.
We can't keep that in.
No. The bodies of the English dead include some of Hazard's brothers and housecarls. They were left on the battlefield, although some were later removed by relatives. The Normans dead were buried in a mass grave, which has never been found.
Has it not?
It has not.
So again, casualty figures are unknown, but it's speculated that the death toll was around 2,000 Normans and around 4,000 Englishmen. Reports state that some of the English dead were still being found on the hillside years later.
I mean, if you look hard enough, you could probably still find more.
Yeah, I mean, if they really looked hard enough, they could find the mass Norman grave, but...
I mean, if they looked hard enough, they'd probably find the rest of the bodies on the moors, but...
Again, can't keep that in. So, Willie Boy expected to receive submission from the surviving English leaders after his victory. However, Edgar Atheling?
Atheling.
It
is pronounced Atheling.
Because it had the funny A in front of it.
Yeah.
Like what Elon Musk called his kid.
Ugh. Just don't get started on Elon.
He was proclaimed king by the Wittingemot, not the Wisingemot, with the support of Earls Edwin and Morcar, and also the Archbishop of Canterbury, and Eldred, the Archbishop of York. So Willie Boy then went to London. Marching around the coastline of Kent, he defeated an English force that attacked him at Southwark, but he was unable to storm London Bridge, forcing him to reach the capital by a different route. So he moved up the Thames Valley, crossing the river at Wallingford, and he received submission of, I believe that says Stigand. Stigand? I don't know. He then travelled northeast along the Chilterns before advancing towards London from the northwest. So man's just gone all the way around.
Yeah, he took the scenic route. He had further fighting against the forces from the city. The English leaders surrendered to Willie Boy at Berkhamsted in Hertfordshire. Good old Hertfordshire.
Willie Boy that was then proclaimed King of England and was crowned by the Ealdred on Christmas Day, 1066, in Westminster Abbey.
That was a nice Christmas present for him.
It was a very nice Christmas present for him. I wish I could get a funny hat for Christmas.
Well, if you're lucky, you might.
If we're very lucky, we all might get funny hats.
The Bayeux Tapestry, pronounce it how you'd like.
French.
We won't hold that against you, will we?
No.
It's an embroidered narrative of events leading up to Hastings, and this was done after the battle. So, they were late.
Bit late.
In modern times, annual reenactments of the battle have drawn thousands of participants and spectators to the site of the original battle. Some English veterans of the battle left England and joined the Vanguard Guard in Constantinople, which is now modern-day Istanbul, which fought the Normans again at the Battle of...
Something.
Something.
Drycombe?
in 1081, and they were defeated again in similar circumstances.
Womp womp, sucks to be them.
Yeah. Just to let you know, though, the Bay Tapestry is wildly considered inaccurate among historians.
Because again, we weren't there.
We weren't there.
So, there we go. There we have it. That's how Willie Boy became King of England. He is thought to... This is where, when most people do monarchs, they start from Willie Boy. Again, most British people would have heard horrible histories and their monarchy song. They do start with William the Conqueror.
We will not sing it.
Again, because no one wants to hear that. So,
copyright.
Also that. So a few fun facts about Willie Boy. So he did reign from 1066 to 1087. He died at the age of 58.
He had 10 children.
I mean, they didn't have TVs back then.
I know. We're not going to name them all for you because they'll take us ages. And the pronunciation of some of their names.
Again, some of them are French.
And as I have said before, I am not a massive fan of the French.
No. So again, he was seen as the first English king, even though he was French. He did create what is known as the Domesday Book, which is a survey of English land resources. And just to top it off, he built 500 castles.
Some of them were Motte and Bailey castles, which were a wooden structure.
Yep.
And some were stone.
Some were stone.
He also started to build the Tower of London, but unfortunately he died before it could be complete.
So he did, like we said, he died on the 9th of September, 1087. He did die from some internal injuries after being thrown from the horse.
And this is a funny one that I think, though. It's widely assumed, because we can't prove the fact, because again, we were not there. It is said that his own body burst at his funeral.
And I mean, that is something, though, just as a fun note, for the weird side of things, that is something that can happen.
It can.
Even nowadays, and it's due to the buildup of gases within the body after death.
I think it's all to do with like methane.
I believe so. I believe it's also a lot of other gases that do build up in the body after death.
His body burst because he couldn't fart. Because he was dead.
You still continue to fart after death.
Really?
Yeah. So that's how the gases escape the body. It's a fun fact. But again, they didn't have embalming back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, bodies can and still do burst after death. Especially if that person dies alone and isn't found for a long period of time.
True.
So yeah, that's usually just why they stab holes in like dead bodies and shit.
Nice.
If you've ever seen any sort of like embalming videos or anything like that.
I haven't.
Me neither, but I mean, I vaguely understand the process. So that has been this week's episode. We will try to upload every week. I mean, I'm very busy with work. And yeah, we've got quite a few ideas of what we want to do. We do want to continue the history of the royal family. But again, we are going to lean more into quite literally anything because it's our podcast and not yours. And again, if anyone does get that reference, that is great. So that has been this week's episode of The Weird, the Wacky and the Wonderful. I'm going to shut up now because we have been recording for a very long time. Thank you and good night.
Good night.
And again, just before I do sign off and say good night, we can be found wherever you find your podcasts. So that it'll mainly be Spotify,
YouTube,
and we will also be uploading YouTube, and we'll try and get some stuff out on TikTok as well. Again, like I said, this is our very, very first episode. So again, if we do sound a little robotic and weird sounding, just be nice.
It's also because we are from Yorkshire.
And also very awkward in general.
Yeah.
Ew, human interaction.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love that? Anyway, we will once again say thank you and good night. Good morning.
Good evening.
Buenas tardes. None of us speak another language, and yeah.